live from downtown State College.
Welcome into the Landon Tengwall live pregame call-in show. It is maybe the craziest day in college football history incoming. That's what it feels like today. We have so many college football playoff implications. We have what is maybe the craziest coaching carousel in college football history going on. It is a great day to be a college football fan. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Landon Tengwall Show. Penn State at Rutgers, Piscataway, and we are there at 3:30 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing today? I am sure I can't wait for this stream. We're going to have so much speculation and just all of it. I can't wait. Bo Hall, what's up, brother? How you doing? Appreciate you guys joining the show today. Wow. Over under, how many calls we get? I'm curious of how much of them are actually going to be about the game today. Probably none. It is starting to leak out that there is going to be some type of flyover of the Rutgers game that is going to be asking for Terry Smith to be the head coach. That's going to be something. Yes, Ryan says, do we get it done today and get to a bowl? Yes, it is the battle for the bowl eligibility between Rutgers and Penn State. I think we're going to go ahead and take this one. I don't have a lot of confidence in Rutgers. That is a bad passing defense. I think we'll have a good day. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's get into this thing. Here we go. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Papa J, Red Lion.
Papa J, Red Lion. What's up, brother?
Did you know that there is a very serious virus going around Penn State, and it's affected many coaching candidates? What are the symptoms? Their name pops up, and instantly they forget how to coach and start losing games, like Matt Rule, Brett Key. You pretty much name a coach, and as soon as, well, the other thing, they get lots of extra money, extensions, Drinkowitz. Who else might be affected by this virus? Have a great day.
Thank you, my brother. Yes, there is. No, it does feel that way. That every Penn State name that gets brought into the Penn State head coaching hiring cycle, they get paid, but they do also seem to lose. It is kind of funny. I've enjoyed it, but yeah, it's crazy. It seems as though the craziness of the past. What was that? Mid-October. We're about 6 weeks into this thing. Guys, we're so close. It is coming to an end. I think we have just a couple days left, maybe just hours left, until we finally find out who is going to be the Penn State head coach. I can't wait. Let's continue to the phone lines. Here we go. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Ryan from Rumson, New Jersey.
Ryan, what's your question, brother?
How's it going? I'm pretty sure everybody's probably talking about the head coach search, but I'm just like a little side question. What do you think, regardless of who we get, what do you think odds are that Grunkmeyer's our starting quarterback next year?
I don't know. I mean, if it's not Terry, which I don't think it is, I think fairly low. I'm going to be honest. I don't think if you pull in a DeBoer or a Riley, I don't think you keep Grunk. I just don't think they will. I think a lot of this team is going to look very, very different, if you want me to be honest. So I would say probably low, but there's obviously going to be a discussion, and I want to see Grunk continue to get better. But yeah, I think a lot of this is going to be overhauled, coaching staff and players alike. So that's why I put out a tweet yesterday. I was like, I asked people to give their guess of how many transfer portal people Penn State's going to bring in. I think it's over 50. I think it's in the 60 range would be my guess of how many people. Because you got to remember, we went from 85 scholarships last year to 105 scholarships. That's 20 more players. That is pretty significant. Noah, thank you for the donation. He said Heartline. Oh, where'd he go? There he is. Heartline falling out of the race has been upsetting. I guess. I'd rather have a proven guy, but I understand what you're saying there. Heartline is definitely the prototype of the young coordinator to head coach pipeline. Someone said if Riley came and brought Lynn, I'd be on the verge of ending it. Noah is not a fan of the Lincoln Riley train here. I don't know. Honestly, if Riley did come to Penn State, I think Anton Lynn, the defensive coordinator for USC, he'd probably be a prime candidate to be the head coach at USC. So that'd be something to keep an eye on, honestly. But who do I think is realistic? I don't know what's realistic anymore. This has been the biggest whirlwind of just confusion of this head coach search. I just put out on Twitter too, like obviously Kalashi it's not set by any markets. It's where people put their money, and that's how it decides who goes up in odds. But I was looking at my last week Kalashi odds because I write them out obviously on the Google Drive. It is so different from last week to this week, just 7 days, and everybody in the top 5 is like completely different. So Kalani Sitake, BYU's head coach, came out of nowhere. I got rumblings of that earlier this week and been kind of monitoring that. I don't think that's going to happen, but it is a lot of names that people did not expect are getting thrown out there. So we obviously, we had Josh Payton, all that, talking about that earlier this week, saying there's all these, random candidates. But look, Pat Kraft he's trying to swing and hit a home run. That is for sure. And so, no, I do not think Terry Smith is going to be the head coach, although a lot of people, especially a lot of former Penn Staters and the old guard, want that to happen. J-Mott said also that site is apparently being sued. Yeah, Kalashi, whatever the hell, however you say it. Yeah, they are getting sued, so that's great. Yeah, I do think Kraft has done a great job keeping it under wraps and also just not letting anything leak out. I told you guys, there was, and there probably still is, there was being like misinformation was being like sprinkled down just to keep everybody guessing of, just random things getting leaked out on purpose. So no one knew who the heck who was actually in the lead. So it's been fantastic. I've honestly enjoyed this search. Not actually, I want to stab my eyes out at this point, but we are coming to an end here. We have a caller. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Jim from Maryland.
Jim, what's your question, my man?
First of all, thank you for your show. Good show. I enjoy watching your, videos and stuff. Question is kind of like a two-part question. Class of 93, did 2 years of Mount Alto, graduated a big house back in 93. You being a former player and all, what do you think happened at the beginning of the season with this team? It seemed like they were off from the get-go. Yes, we won our 3 games against Patsies, but we didn't win them the same way as like Bama or Oregon. We're winning their games against the Patsies they played before they started conference play. So something to me seemed off the whole season. And then as far as I'm concerned, it's noticeable that once Terry Smith got the keys to the kingdom, this team played with more energy. There seemed like there was more life on the sidelines. They could have and should have beaten Iowa. They could have and should have beaten IU. And then, they put a couple of wins together here at the end. And, hopefully they win today and end up bowl eligible. But like your take, being a former player, what's your take on, what do you think the dysfunction was at the beginning of this season until Franklin left? And I've been a big Franklin supporter myself. He's a good ambassador for the school. He plays the game well with all the shaking the alumni and the big dollar donors and, doing all the ancillary stuff besides just X's and O's. And, I've been a big supporter of him for that reason. I think he's a good dude and all, but it was noticeable. There was something off this season. And given the fact that Smith seemed to tighten the thing up once he got the keys to the kingdom, why not keep him? As far as a big dollar hire, you're going to spend more money on one of these splash hires, buying out a contract. If you give Terry the keys now and make him the head coach, he can adjust, the offensive and defense coordinator. Maybe you save some money by, bringing in other people.
Yeah, so, look, I'm just telling you, Terry's not going to happen at this point. Like Kraft just isn't going to do that. I said that in the show with Booch that we did, which, by the way, maybe Booch is in here, but we're going to get Booch on a lot more. Booch it's elite content with Booch. We have a great time with him. Terry needs a lot of credit for what he did. He fixed, and I said this watching the All-22 tape on both sides of the football, on defense and on offense. Terry fixed what was fundamentally wrong with both sides of the ball. And it took him a little bit of time, but he did it, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. I don't know the reasons why James Franklin was not able to make that change or that fix, and that was part of the reason why I said it did need to happen. Everybody that's out there, we hear, oh, you fired him just because of 3 losses. We've been over this a million times. But it was clear. It was just over, and I don't know why, but Franklin didn't have a good enough grasp of this team, of his coaching staff, because he couldn't, even though it took, I made the joke that that Terry Smith basically had to put Andy Kotelnicki in a chokehold to be able to get him to throw the ball downfield. Terry got it fixed. And the defense, there were so many times I'm watching the tape in early games and even the first couple games, even against Iowa with Terry. I'm like, what the hell? Whose gap is that? What are we doing here? These guys are confused playing football, and that completely changed. Ohio State and on, it did not look like that for that Penn State defense. So, yeah, Terry deserves a lot of credit, but I just think the logistics of keeping Terry on, what is he going to do with his staff? What is he going to do with transfer portal? How is he going to be able to attract type of players? I think that starts to really muddy up the waters for Terry Smith. So I just don't think that's a realistic possibility. And like I said, with the names that I am starting to hear, it seems like Pat Kraft is going for all of it. But for anybody, look, anybody in this search, no one's fully out until it's over. But if you are a Chesney person, I will tell you everything I've heard is that has fully just cooled all the way off. So if you're a Chesney lover, it's probably not looking too good for you at the moment. But I get it. Someone said 409 crowd wants Terry. I get it. Plus the Duke and coach. I totally agree. I'm a huge fan of Terry Smith. What makes me sad is just the way this has went, of Terry Smith being upfront and clear about the fact he wants this job and that he's he didn't say he's the most deserving, but he laid out why he's the man for it, why he understands the culture, he understands the alumni, he understands the donors, everybody, the administration. I don't know if it's going to be easy to keep Terry Smith on the staff with whoever comes and coaches it next. I do think that is going to be a tough situation to be in if you're the next coach, to try to keep Terry. We'll see what happens, though. We got a caller. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Ryan from Virginia Beach. I have a few things to bring up. Number one, it seemed really odd a couple of weeks ago that Bobby Ingram was interviewing for the head coaching job, and now all of a sudden there's a mystery candidate. What's not to say that Cliff Kingsbury is the actual head coach in waiting, and that Bobby Ingram was just being interviewed as offensive coordinator since he was working underneath him? And the other thing is this. If it's true that Chris Mahan, who was our recruiting coordinator, was supposedly telling all these recruits to renege on their NIL deals and stuff, I don't know if it's legal, illegal, or whatever, but I'm sorry. If that's the case, James Franklin, the only way he's ever getting a free beer in State College is if it's Piston. And that's all I got to say. Thanks.
Well, first off, I don't know how much James Franklin's coming back to State College. Let's just say that first and foremost. I heard the Lincoln Riley, not Lincoln Riley. I heard the Cliff Kingsbury name thrown out there for sure. I think just about, and that's a piece with the Bobby thing. Like I put that out there because I did get it basically from Bobby himself that he was getting interviewed. But it was, as someone said in the Twitter comments when I posted that, I think it was put perfectly, not all interviews are created equal at all. Pat Kraft is not going to hire Bobby Ingram to be the head coach of Penn State. So, I think part of it too when you're Pat Kraft is you're interviewing a lot of these people throughout this process, and you're asking them questions. What's your vision? What would be your plan for this? What would be your plan for that? And you're getting good ideas from other people. Like that's part of it. Like you have to do your due diligence if you're Pat Kraft. So that's another piece of going out and interviewing just about everybody under the sun. If you're Kraft, is I want to try to get straw polls. I want to figure out, okay, what is that's actually a good idea. I like that. So it's going to be interesting. Road Dogs has landed. Do you know what endorsement is coming for Terry today? Yes, it has already been posted a little bit over social media, but there's going to be some type of flyover situation with Terry. Look, I'm all in with Terry. I love him. But like I said, I just think logistically it wouldn't necessarily be the best fit. And like I said, more so, I just know that Kraft's not going to do that. I think the only way Terry be hired is if he gets a no from everybody else. That's kind of where I'm at this point. So, oh boy. This is going to be something. Anybody interested about the Rutgers game today? We play Rutgers. That's going to be something. No, I think we smashed Rutgers today. I think the line's 13.5 last time I saw it. I think we're going to put it on them. I think these boys are going to have fun, and we're going to continue to see a Penn State team that we haven't seen a whole lot this year that we did see last week. So I'd love to see them just continue to move the line of scrimmage. Let's finish off this season on a high note. What's going to be one of the most interesting things to talk about if Penn State does win is what's going to happen with the bowl game. If Penn State wants to go, how much of the coaching staff do you have? How many players do you have? That's going to be quite interesting, because if you don't have the people to actually like play the game, if you don't have, let's just say, whatever, a wide receivers coach or an offensive line coach, like that's going to be kind of difficult. So I'm curious to see what that bowl game would look like if Penn State were to win today. Yeah, the whole recruiting kids to Virginia Tech thing. Like I don't know, I can't confirm or deny any logistics of people saying, telling them to decommit. But also, I'll just tell you, if a coach is going to go elsewhere, I was already under the assumption that there were people that were in the Penn State building when James Franklin was fired, that they were working for him wherever he was going to go. So that, I mean, it's not like a huge shock to me when people put that out there. I'm like, that's kind of what I expected, that James was going to have his staff that is eventually going to come with him. I mean, he took his initial, 6 or 8 guys. I'm not going to say the other letter. I'm not going to say 6 and then the other number, so just leave that there. But he took those initial guys with him. But there's so many more people that are going to join him. So it didn't shock me to hear that. I figured that was going to be happening, that James Franklin's going to be trying to poach recruits. I don't think that's exactly some shocking revelation that's being put out there, but I don't know. I would say be careful with also, guys. I get it. Everybody's having fun. It's social media. People do have real lives, though, so let's remember that. Everybody try to be somewhat calm. Amari Campbell said he's all in for the bowl game, so that's cool to see. I didn't see that. I don't know. Road Dogg said that in the comments. I think a lot of guys would want to play for Terry Smith, and that's another piece of this. I get it. Like you said, Terry's very likely not going to be the hire, but you see how much these guys love him, and that's another reason why I say if it's not Terry Smith, I expect this transfer portal window to be huge for Penn State, and let's not forget there's only one transfer portal window now. Early January to January 16th, and that's it. There's no more hitting that first portal, saying, all right, what else do we need to fix? And then you can go back after spring ball, see your issues, and dip back into the portal. No, you better get everything figured out. You got to have all 105 roster spots filled out when that portal closes. Well, you can continue to add people after the portal, but you get what I'm saying. Your Penn State's going to have to dip heavy into that thing. And that's another reason why Penn State could never wait that long. The 2026 recruiting class is going to be minimal at best, no matter what. They can start signing on Wednesday, and they have till Friday. So early signing period, it's not just this coming Wednesday. It's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then after that, everybody else, you're done. And then there's technically another signing day in February, the old National Signing Day, when it was actually that was the day it used to be before early signing period came about in 2017. But you're basically just picking up scraps at that point in February. So Penn State's going to have to get moving, and their new staff is going to have to get recruiting for the portal because, it's already started, but starting tomorrow morning, agents and players, it's going to be calls out the wazoo, moving people around, and Penn State has to get their staff in here so they can start recruiting guys out of the portal right away. We got a caller. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
What's up, Landon? This is Donovan Profit from Albany, Maryland.
Oh, there he is. What's up, brother?
Hi. Yes, sir. What's good? So, the clock's ticking down. I'm interested in where you think Pat Kraft's mind's at right now. Like, do you think he's nervous? Do you think he's confident? But another question I have is, do you really think that we have to capitalize on this hire like now or before December 1st? Or do you think we could, play this out until, I don't know, just while the playoffs go on, see what coach loses and, what have you? I don't know.
No, I think you gotta move. It could maybe go to like Tuesday, but no, you're talking weeks. You physically cannot do that. Because like I said, half the people, when the transfer portal opens on the 3rd, I think January 3rd, half the people that enter right away, because that's when everybody can officially enter, they already know where they're going. So that's why I'm saying it's so important to get your staff now, because it's a recruitment period. Like that's what it is. I remember watching, I forget which game it was yesterday. One of the coaches said, the head coaches of the game, he said, yeah, I got to finish up this game, and then it's time to fully re-recruit my roster. I hate college football. I hate college football so much. But no, you got to get going. You got to move, because it's recruiting. That's what it is. It's recruiting players from every other roster in college football around America, and you got to get going on that so you can be ahead of it. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I got Kalashi in front of me. I just watched Kalani Sitake go up to 38% and then come back down to 20%. Someone just dropped probably a couple $100 on Kalani Sitake. I don't know why, out of nowhere. I'm enjoying watching this. It's just absolutely hilarious. I mean, guys, there's nothing more that I hate than this, but I also love it so much. It's absolutely fantastic. Roadog said, Landon, if you could pick 5 young guys to keep on this roster, who are you keeping? Everybody goes Kobe Howard, obviously. Chaz Coleman is going to get massive offers. Well, that's the other piece. If you bring in a big-time name, let's just say the 2 guys on the thumbnail, if you bring in a Lincoln Riley or Kalen DeBoer, I don't know. Guys like Chaz Coleman or Kobe Howard, I'm probably sticking around. I want to see what that is about. So I thought that'd be interesting. Cornwall, thanks for the donation. Called me Vanilla Face. Asking about Sandy Barber. I think more than half of Cornwall's donations have been unreadable, but as always, we appreciate you, my man. We got a caller. What is your name? Where are you calling from? What is your name? Where are you calling from?
What's up, man? It's Adam Brenneman.
What's up, brother?
Tell Landon I want to talk some Penn State football.
What's up? What you got, bro?
What's up, man? How are you, brother?
Chilling, man. Chilling. What you got some info for us?
Listen, I'm sitting here. I didn't realize this was actually you that picked up. I thought you were going to have a producer answer first. Listen. I'm sitting here ready to. I'm calling a game at 3:30. I'm listening to the Landon Tengwall show. First of all, brother, you're doing a hell of a job, man. You got to. I love the content. It's good stuff, and I want to hear your prediction, man. I got I'm hearing a lot of different things, a lot of sources out there. We got a mystery candidate. I want to hear who you think the mystery candidate actually is.
Wow, Adam, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. I'm leaning Lincoln Riley at this moment. There is some smoke there. I do think, as I've said earlier this week, this thing is fluid as heck. But that's where I'm leaning right now. I don't know what you got anything you want to give us?
I'll say this: I think the Lincoln smoke is real. I don't have it from a direct source, but I was told by a couple people definitely in the know. Actually, one is a current college football head coach. That Lincoln Riley in Penn State has real traction. I don't know where it goes. I don't know anything other than that. But I mean, they're really of all the names that have been thrown around. I mean, you talked about Bob Chesney a little bit. I think we are going to get a kind of a shocking candidate that hasn't been floated throughout the last couple of weeks. It's been really landed. I mean, you think about all the coaching searches around the country. There's been like no reporting around the Penn State search. I mean, from Thamel and Pete Nakos and all these guys, no one's really reported what's going on, which I think is, you got to credit Pat Kraft for keeping this thing so quiet. We could be completely wrong on our speculation as well. You know how it is, but yeah. It's going to be fun to see how it actually plays out.
Adam, I appreciate you calling in, man. I didn't think it was you at first. I thought it was like a troll. I was like, listen, we got him.
No, man, it's me. It's me, man. I was just sitting here. Honestly, I'm honestly getting dressed. I'm calling the Liberty-Kennesaw State game on CBS at 3:30, and I pulled up my Twitter, and I was listening to you for the last 20 minutes. So I'm like, I'm going to call into this thing.
My guy, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Good luck on the call today.
Talk soon.
Yes, sir, brother. Have a great one. Look at that. Oh, my gosh. We got Adam Brenneman calling into the show. We're getting drops. Yeah, I mean, look, as Adam said, we've both heard real smoke on Riley. I don't think we're going to know until we really know, but I mean, this is going to be, oh boy, I can't wait for this. You guys. Someone said you don't want Lincoln. I don't know. I'd enjoy Lincoln. You know what else I'd enjoy? I would enjoy the #1 recruiting class in America coming to Penn State. Now, that would be fun. Now, that would be good. And we're bringing a couple guys back that he's already he's taken out of PA, specifically out of Philly, so. Oh, man. This is going to be something, guys. Are you guys ready for this? Oh, Cornwall. Just definitely not going to read whatever Cornwall donated, but we always appreciate your donations, brother. Let me know in the chat, guys. Are you the game today? You got Michigan. I didn't even read what he said. He said the 2 coldest cock. Oh my god. Oh, the chat's not real, man. Oh my gosh. Holy cow. Oh gosh. All right, let me know. As I was saying before, I actually read Cornwall's donation there. Let me know if you got Ohio State or Michigan. I think Ohio State's just going to take it to them. I obviously I know what's happened the past couple years. I think this Ohio State team is just too talented. And the big reason that Michigan was able to do what they did last year is they had 2 elite defensive tackles up front. And they were able to control the heck out of that line of scrimmage. So I think Ohio State has a good day today against this Michigan team. But also, Michigan's rushing attack is really good, even without Haynes. And Ohio State, at times, for the most part, they've been pretty good up front, but I've seen it. I've seen them have some lapses in the run game, so curious to see what's going to happen there. But yeah, I think Ohio State wins pretty handily there. Someone said Cornwall's going to get you canceled. Yeah, probably, honestly. We got a caller. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Landon, this is Albie with Aaron Jefferson Hills, Pennsylvania.
My man,
right,
what is your question?
South Pittsburgh. So my question is, you alluded to the fact on a podcast that Franklin didn't know ball. And I just wanted to hear some extra thoughts on that, if you could give us any insight.
Yeah, look, I mean, Mike Robb said the same thing. Like, Franklin, he's a CEO. Like, he is a CEO guy, not exactly a big-time X's and O's coach. And that's just what it is. That's just the true nature of the game. And I said that because I do feel like at times when you're in those moments where you have to make big-time decisions and you're more of, control. And that was the reason. Like, self-admittedly, even with Adam, who just called in, like, James Franklin said that on an interview with Adam Brenneman. He was like, look, I'm a micromanager. I want to have my hands on everything. I want to be touching things that essentially a lot of stuff, what the GMs do nowadays. All of those things. So he's, like I said, he's just more of a CEO than anything else. But that's still not to say that he didn't do a great job here. Like, yes, I think anybody that's saying that like James Franklin was didn't do anything here or whatever, for like, he did a lot here. You got to give him a lot of credit for what he did and help Penn State get back to where we are now. But like I said, I still feel like it was time for that split to happen. And now we'll see. We'll see if Penn State is able to land one of these big names. If they're able to land one of these mystery candidates, then Pat Kraft looks like a genius, because I know Pat Kraft has been getting a lot of crap from the national media and everybody of what a horrible mistake. And we know what it was the week after Penn State got fired. We were getting, the Penn State fan base was getting assaulted by the College Game Day set. And now, I don't know. We get back and we land one of these big-time names, and then we're laughing at everybody else, and everybody's praising Pat Kraft, and that's how quickly the national media switches up. So we will we're going to continue to track how that goes, but we will if you guys want, we'll take one last call in before the game starts and we get popping. Here we go. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Brian. I'm calling from Lebanon, Pennsylvania.
What's up, Brian? What's your question?
What's your take on the I've seen some videos of some former players from back when Terry played that if they don't hire him, they're done with Penn State. I mean, I've seen some players. I kind of get the impression that Franklin kind of crapped on some of the older guys, and he didn't really embrace the former culture that was, of the Joe Paterno style era. And it's just, it seems to be there's a cultural divide there between the old and the new Penn State, cultures.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there definitely is. Like I said, I even told you guys that. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't. And I think a piece of that, too, to James Franklin's credit, especially from the last administration, he was also told to not bring up the past, like if we're just being real. So he obviously didn't, and you could see that you're allowed to do it, and obviously Terry does it and wore the pin, and it stirred a lot of things up. But yeah, I saw that too from OJ McDuffie. Love OJ. He did say that. He said, I'm not going to watch or anything if Terry doesn't get the job, and I will be sad to inform that's very unlikely that he does get the job. You know, I think guys are still going to continue to come to games and support Penn State. I think this is the biggest thing. People are emotional right now. Let's just be clear, myself included. Over the past 6 weeks, have I said some things I probably shouldn't have said, or I'm like, probably. But we're all emotional right now, so people are going to say different things. I do think where we are right now, like Penn State is hopefully starting to come back together, and everybody is, the glue is reforming. I do think some people are going to be pissed when Terry Smith is not named the head coach. And I will tell you, as much as I made many videos about Terry Smith and how much I would like him to be the next head coach, if you can land to either of the guy that is on the thumbnail in DeBoer or Riley or another big name, then you can't hire Terry Smith. That's just the reality of it. I completely agree. He has turned around this team. He would be a great uniter. He would get fantastic support from the financial side of things, but I just don't think Pat Kraft is going to do that. Cornwall, thank you again for another donation that I just won't even read out loud, but it's always good to get you in here, man. Last things, a couple things before we go. Someone earlier mentioned Tony Rojas deleted all the Penn State stuff off of his Instagram. I will tell you, he did that right away. He did that as soon as he got injured. It was still like UCLA week, and he deleted everything off his Instagram. So I don't think that directly correlates with anything to do if he's coming back. So it's whatever. Once again, yes, everybody's very emotional. Everybody, let's take some deep breaths. Let's calm down. Penn State football plays today. We're going to have a fun time. And like I said, kick back. This November 29th, 2025 might just be, and into tomorrow morning, might just be the craziest 24 hours in college football history, depending on what happens in the actual games themselves, but also Lane Kiffin and where everybody's moving. I can't wait to watch all of this. This is going to be fantastic. As always, we are going to be back when the clock hits triple zeros in the Rutgers Penn State game. Maybe we'll have some news on different things. Maybe we'll know where Kiffin's going, which I do think could have a little bit of a direct correlation on what happens to Penn State. Thank you so much for the donation. So I'm excited to see what goes down, guys. It's definitely going to be interesting. Thank you again to Anti-Fragile Brewing Company for sponsoring this video. Make sure you guys check them out on Calder Way. Great cheesesteaks, breakfast cheesesteaks, and fantastic beer. So that is a great place to hang out when you come into town. Oh, PG says, hey, Landon, Mike the Mailman's brother-in-law. Oh, no, watch out. Here we go. Love Mike the Mailman. That's my guy. We're going to be on For the Bloggy tomorrow. You know it. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy football today. Don't get too worked up. Don't believe everything you hear on Twitter. And most importantly, go State. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.